from where it used to be. Meanwhile, we continue to await to see whether Kirk Cousins will or won't be in Atlanta. The issue for Cousins is most every team that had some type of quarterback need wound up with a quarterback this weekend. Cleveland, which really couldn't have afforded them, drafted 2 quarterbacks. Minnesota traded for Sam Howell. Pittsburgh's waiting for Aaron Rodgers. More and more, it looks like Cousins is destined to head to training camp with the Falcons while he awaits to see if a team needs him. Derek Carr today said his shoulder injury is real, despite what ESPN reported. Not sure what ESPN reported, but he didn't like it. And he obviously is facing an uncertain future with the New Orleans Saints right now. Both sides trying to figure it out. His future in New Orleans is at best murky right now. Everybody waiting for some answers to Derek Carr's injured shoulder.
Really fast, Adam, what did ESPN report? Do we know? Because it wasn't you, right? About Derek Carr?
I don't know what he's talking about. No, okay. I'm not sure. I don't know.
I didn't either. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you. We'll be back with you in moments. Let's continue in New Orleans, okay? They did draft Louisville quarterback Tyler Shough, of course, as we see him on here. Tyler Shough, of course, being one of the earlier quarterbacks taken. His dog actually stole the show. Watch this. There he goes. Oh yeah.
Murphy,
so cute.
Good girl.
She's so cute. Either way, we see him as one of the older quarterbacks that we've seen in a while, but I don't think people care about that as much anymore. Field, how did Shough end up landing in New Orleans?
Well, Laura, ESPN did report during the pre-draft process that the Saints were interested in both Tyler Shough and also Jackson Dart. Those are the 2 top quarterback targets they had outside of the Cam Ward realm. And so I think that the momentum for Tyler Shough really picked up a new level of steam once he was down at the Senior Bowl and teams got a chance to see him up close and personal. And I'm talking about the highest level decision makers who don't really have a lot of time during the regular season to travel around the college landscape and see a lot of these guys up close. He's an impressive processor. He has very good arm talent. He is a very good athlete as well. You'll see this flip in for the touchdown scramble right there by Tyler Shough. But obviously the Giants making their move up from pick 34 to 25 was an indication that at least one other team was contemplating making a move up to land Jackson Dart at the end of round 1. Whether the Giants believe that to be the New Orleans Saints or the Cleveland Browns, it's clear that there were multiple teams that were in on these quarterbacks at that end of round 1, beginning of round 2 time frame, and Shough now lands in New Orleans.
I think the question mark around Shough now is he going to be ready to play right away? Not knowing what Derek Carr's injury status is with his shoulder, there may be a ton on him. First-year head coach Kellen Moore now has a rookie quarterback coming in. You said it, Field, the arm talent, his size, athleticism. Can he pick up this offense? This is a guy that played in three different systems at 3 different schools while being in college. So you know he can make it through adversity with the injuries that he was forced to come back from. I think that's the part you like. His age as well. He's going to be a mature guy that walks in. There's a guy that's used to being a leader and knows how to fight back. So for New Orleans Saints and for Kellen Moore, you feel excited because with multiple quarterbacks still on the board, you were able to land the guy that you wanted. Now, how much can you get him ready to play right away?
He was impressive. We had Tyler Shough on NFL Live, and we were having him break down some of his own film, and we were like, man, if you talk to Sean McVay, I mean, either way, there's plenty of NFL coaches. As you see, the Saints will have a chance to work with him. All right, another quarterback drafted, Jalen Milroe, the Alabama quarterback. Now, he was taken by the Seahawks. Of course, they already have Sam Darnold there. There's Milroe reacting. Such a cool moment for him and his parents. His parents mean so much to him. He comes from a military background. And just, there's Nick Saban, too, on the screen, by the way. That was pretty cool, Field. You were up there for that. Really special to see Milroe taken. Obviously, he had it going on with the dance moves. Mel Kiper Jr. joining us now. Mel, we've got so much more on your draft grades coming up in just a little bit, but you gave the Seahawks draft an A. What did you think of Milroe landing in Seattle?
It's a good spot. I think when you look at what he can do running with the football, he's outstanding. He toys with defenders when he has the ball in his hands. He has granite, 6'2", 217 pounds, and runs into 4.3s, and he runs like a big power back with speed. And like I said, the defenders, forget it. You don't have to take the right angles. If you want to take him on, he can run you over. He can run by you, through you, around you. So as a runner, there's got to be packages for him. And Mike McDonald was with Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. Lamar Jackson certainly, I think, takes some of that with Jalen in terms of the inaccuracy coming in. You know, Jalen Milroe had a higher completion percentage than Lamar did. So you think about what Jalen Milroe needs to do. 10 touchdowns, 1 pick the first 4 games, 6 touchdowns, 10 picks the rest of the way. 2 of those touchdowns, by the way, were against Mercer, so it was really 4 and 10. So it was a different ball. It was Jaylen, then it was Milroe, basically. They have the first 4 games, you're looking at Jaylen, and then Milroe came along. So what you got to do is blend them together, find that happy medium, and figure out why his accuracy, why he didn't see the field like he did against Georgia in those early games. Because, again, he looked like a top 10 pick. They looked like a late-rounder free agent. So the middle ground is great runner, fix the accuracy issue, and maybe have something special with Jalen Milroe.
I really love this as a landing spot for Milroe. You know, I see him a lot in the same way that Mel does in terms of the upside, the athleticism. He's got an unbelievably strong arm, but he needed time. And in Seattle, he will not be expected to start right away. However, this is not a team with a long-term commitment to their quarterback. That Sam Darnold contract is not something going on for years and years and years. So there will be an opportunity for him to compete, I believe, after this season. I also think he'll see the field. Talk about the coaching staff. Their offensive coordinator is Clint Kubiak, who comes from New Orleans, and they had Taysom Hill. In some ways, year one, I think he could be almost like a turbocharged version of Taysom Hill. So, you know, for the Seahawks, 3rd-round pick on this player, given his upside, I think was totally worth it. Really like this for both the team and the player.
I love that, a turbocharged version of Taysom Hill. I think that'll get Mel's stamp of approval as well. A lot more coming from Mel later on, and Mina, of course. And coming up next on NFL Live.
I like, and a quarterback I love. 2 running backs I like a lot. Harold Fannin Jr., one of the best H-backs in this draft. And they got 2 excellent defensive players up the gut in Mason Graham, defensive tackle, and Carson Schlesinger, inside linebacker, off ball, and a number 1 pick next year as well. So Cleveland did a great job. I think that certainly with any team that Shedeur Sanders went to after the top 21 picks was going to get an A+ grade no matter what happened. You go to New England, how about what they were able to do after Will Campbell? Now, Will Campbell is going to be the left tackle, protect the blind side, hopefully for a long career of Drake May. How about speed with Travion Henderson running back the team with Ramondre Stevenson? How about as far as the speed of Kyle Williams and the ability he has to basically get the ball in his hands and take it 60 yards? And then how about Jared Wilson, who's also the heir apparent at center, who's developmentally 1 year as a starter for Jared Wilson, but certainly has a bright future with his athleticism. Then you go to a team that did really well, the Giants. Now, this is going to revolve not only about Abdul Carter, and I really like Darius Alexander, great value pick. This is all about Jackson Dart. If Jackson Dart this year starts to show signs, maybe at midseason later on, he could be the guy, helps Brian Dable, helps Joe Shane. And moving forward, Jackson Dart's got to be the guy in the division with Jayden Daniels and Jalen Hurts. Are you kidding me? And Dak Prescott. Jackson Dart's got to close that gap or be right there, or else this draft isn't an A-, it would basically be a D-.
Good points from Mel here. J-Mac, let's start with those Giants that Mel's just referencing. What did you think of the Giants draft?
Well, I loved it because I love the fact that it brought identity. And you look at who the Giants want to be. You talk about Dexter Lawrence in the middle and focusing on that defensive line, adding pressure and stopping the run. You bring in Abdul Carter to add to that. Then they go back to Toledo and get Darius in there as well. So I look at that, Darius Alexander. You get guys that are going to set the tempo for your team defensively. Then a guy like Darius goes out and says, I love taking my opponent's will, watching them go back to the sideline and not knowing what to say to their coach. That's what you want to bring into your organization. You want guys just like that. Abdul Carter wanting LT's number, wanting to live up to that type of legacy. For the Giants, you got really talented players, but you also brought in players that fit the character of your team. Also, Cam Scatterable. For Giants fans, I don't think there's a guy that embodies what it means to be from Jersey more than that. We talked about beautiful weather in Bristol. It's not much better in Jersey as well. Bring your lunch pail to work and go, and that's a guy like Cam Scatterable.
Scatterable was already rocking the Michael Strahan jersey that I saw on social media. I thought it was a responsible spend for the Giants on the whole over this past weekend, right? A little bit of having your cake and eating it too, where you can draft Abdul Carter 3 and still get the quarterback that I think they clearly preferred the most, other than Cam Ward, and Jackson Dart with a not too prohibitive price at number 25 after the move up. The big question that I have for the Giants, maybe the thing that I don't want to lose sight of, is that there still feels to me like an immense amount of pressure on this organization, who plays in a division that has the 2 finalists from the NFC Championship game last year and the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, and faces, and we'll have the official rollout of what the order is on May 14th on ESPN too, but one of the most difficult schedules in the entire NFL if you put enough stock into what happened last year. So I do, Mina, think that there is still some questions to be answered about when Jackson Dart is rolled out as the starter and just how much what looks like a solid draft on paper can influence the bottom line for this organization going forward.
Yeah, in some ways, I really liked this as a destination for Jackson Dart because it's a place where he doesn't have to start immediately. They've got Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. And then you've got a head coach in Brian Daboll, who I think has done a really good job of building offenses around the skills of young quarterbacks. Of course, Josh Allen being the prototype of that. But I think Daniel Jones, that year that earned him the contract, I thought that was a good case study as well. But I do think there's some pretty significant differences between this and the Allen situation. So Josh Allen really broke out in 2020, took him a couple of years. I don't know if Brian Daboll is going to have a couple of years with Jackson Dart. This is a coach and a GM who, are arguably on the hot seat this year. The other thing is the Bills team that year with Josh Allen had a very good offensive line, 4th in ESPN's pass block win rate that season. The Giants were bottom 6 last year, and I'm not sure they got that much better. So I don't know if the environment for quarterbacking is quite as good, and I don't know if the timeline lines up, but I do think the pick made sense, especially where they got him.
Well, he handpicked whoever he wanted. After Cam Ward, you could have had Shador, you could have had Tyler Shough, Jackson Dart. He picked his guy. Now, if I'm ownership, I'm saying, okay, you handpicked your quarterback, and you made it Jackson Dart. Hey, let's go get it. Let's go develop them. And in the NFL, it's not about, Susie Colbert said this a long time, these young quarterbacks play. I don't care what kind of system, what kind of offense. He's going to be on the field at some point. How much progress does he make? How much potential does he show to give the ownership hope that, hey, they made the right call here. Jackson Dart's and those locker room will tell you a lot too. That locker room will know whether Jackson Dart has the right makeup to move forward as the starting quarterback, which will be in 2026. If that's the case, then GM, head coach are fine. If it goes the other way, good luck. And then all of a sudden, Jackson Dart's got a new head coach, new GM, and you know how that works out.
Yeah, it illustrates just the pressure that the Giants were under in this draft. Jackson Dart, I can't tell you in my own experience, is a great leader. Even watching him at the Combine, he was a big leader amongst the other quarterbacks during the workouts. All right, Mel, let's go to some teams that have some homework to do. You gave out 2 C's. Take us through them.
Hey, I'd have been happy with a C back in the day, Lars, so it's not that bad. But at the end of the day, the Atlanta Falcons, I think you look at Jalen Walker and you say, okay, that's a good pick. No doubt about it. We all like Jalen Walker. But, okay, where are we going to be with James Pierce Jr.? You have a lot to get him. James Pierce Jr. is going to be, hopefully for them, if you're going to make this move, he better be 10 to 12 sacks a year, at least 8 to 10 to 12 sacks a year. If he's not, then all of a sudden this draft becomes less than a C. It's all about this player. They didn't get a corner as well. A couple safeties, no corner for the Atlanta Falcons. For this draft, like I said about Dart and the Giants, everything revolves around Dart. Everything here revolves around James Pierce Jr. Same can be said about the Cincinnati Bengals with Shamar Stewart. Shamar Stewart had very little production. I'd say 4.5 sacks in 3 years. No sacks the last 7 games the last 3 years for a guy who is a phenomenal talent physically and athletically, right? So you're talking about Shamar. Can he beat Danielle Hunter?